Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. About this time last year, everyone from farmers to state officials were buzzing about hemp. After 80 years of prohibition, hemp was legal to grow and to be sold as products like CBD oil. Mother Nature, along with the starts and stops of getting any market up and running, tempered initial enthusiasm. But the zest for hemp remains high. To find out where hemp is on Vermont's agricultural landscape, Across the Fence's Keith Silva spoke with UVM Extension agronomist Heather Darby at the 2020 Industrial Hemp Conference hosted by UVM Extension's Northwest Crops and Soil Program.
That for a small grower, I think, is the best return you could get.
A little bit different feeling than last year. You know, last year most people had no experience growing hemp, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about what might, the year bring. And last growing season, very difficult. The hemp market itself, the prices declined quite considerably. So here we are in year two. People still coming out to the conference, people still enthusiastic about hemp, but with more realistic expectations that we are a new industry, that hemp is new on the scene, hasn't been grown in this country for many, many years, and we've got to grow. We have to build an industry from scratch, and that is going to take time. So my feeling is the people that are here understand that. They're still enthusiastic, maybe a little more cautiously enthusiastic, but ready to be in it for the long haul and make hemp into a viable industry in Vermont.
So it sounds like the industry experienced some growing pains.
I'm an agronomist, so the growing pains, a lot of what we saw were inexperienced growers. So new farmers that were really interested in taking their first foray into farming with hemp, with very little knowledge about farming really, and agronomics, trying to grow a crop that they knew little about, but just in the scheme of things also knew very little about how to grow a crop. For those seasoned farmers, same thing. It's a new crop. We have very little information about how to grow it best, what are the best practices. So we've learned a lot in the last few years from our research, not just in Vermont, but now across the country. And we are better armed and able to help farmers grow hemp into a viable crop. The industry is not even close to being mature, but it's starting to be an industry where there's crop insurance, there's more education about the crop itself and understanding about its use and what it's there for. There's more collaboration amongst growers and the industry itself, knowing that they have to work together to figure out these problems. I would say last year, maybe the year before, it was, I gotta be the first one there. I have to be the first one to get to market because it is new and there was money to be made. But now reality has sunk in and people are saying, if we're going to be in this for the long haul, we've got to be in it together.
How does UVM Extension help to do that?
We want to help growers be successful. We want to help businesses in Vermont be successful. So, ultimately, we need to hear from people. What is it that people need to be successful? And of course, through the University of Vermont Extension, we've helped countless farmers and businesses work through issues or problems or challenges. So that is what we're here for, but we have to understand what that is. And we're also a partner in this whole industry, which means we all have to work together. So we're here to work with the industry, but we have to know where we fit and how we're going to help best.
What do you expect for 2020?
So I expect to have a set of growers that have more experience, that are more cautious and ready to buckle down, put in the efforts to grow a really high quality crop, be trying to figure out where the market is before they put the crop in the ground, trying to make connections to potential processing. And I feel again that the amount of hemp will likely stay the same, but as an industry, we're buckling down and figuring out how to make it work.
Since 1889, the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury has seen many changes to Vermont's landscape. This monument to curiosity and inquiry is a chest of wonders of Vermont history, natural science, and everyday events like the weather. Let's join Rebecca Gollin as she leads us on a tour of this jewel in the crown of the Northeast Kingdom.
Located in the heart of downtown St. Johnsbury is the Fairbanks Museum and Planetarium. Founded in 1889 to display the eclectic collection of local industrialist Franklin Fairbanks, the museum's focus is natural history.
Franklin Fairbanks himself was a collector, and he was an amateur naturalist. He loved exploring and understanding nature, so he collected everything from rocks and minerals to bird specimens to eggs.
Fairbanks was the nephew of one of the inventors of the Fairbanks scale, which was produced in St. Johnsbury. He inherited a fortune as well as an interest in philanthropy. Establishing the museum was one way to share his love of learning and nature.
He also did things like he kept meticulous weather records. He recorded temperatures and wind speed and made observations about things like when strawberries were growing in his field. So he was a great observer.
Built in the Victorian style that was popular in the late 1800s, the building is listed on the National Historic Register. The collection inside also reflects the Victorian era in which most of it was gathered.
The core collections are full habitat dioramas of animals in the wild, so you can see them up close. The taxidermist, William Balch, did an absolutely brilliant job placing those animals in family situations, so you might see what they eat, how they communicate, how they take care of each other, what their nests look like. For example, in one of his earliest dioramas, flamingos, there's an egg and a juvenile and then an adult and an aging flamingo, all in the same grouping, and it's really a chance to see them all together.
The intention was to widen the horizons for museum visitors by giving them a chance to see these wonders from far away. Along with the objects and artifacts on display, the museum also houses cultural items from around the world.
The items that were brought here were picked up by the Fairbanks family or by representatives of the scale company when they traveled around the world. There's an alcove dedicated to Egypt. There's one with items from different parts of Europe. There are items from islands in the Pacific. And they're not complete representations of any one part of the world, but they're pieces that were picked up by very specific travel, and they represent what was interesting at the time.
Nearby is a series of artworks whose medium is one of the most unusual you'll find anywhere, representing the Victorian fascination with animals, shapes, and collecting. These images require viewers to take a closer look.
We have these lovely mosaics that were put together by a man named John Hampson, and then I asked people to get up close and sort of take a look and see if they can tell me what they're made of. And usually after about 10 seconds, you'll get a response. And that response is because these mosaics are actually made by pinning thousands and thousands of beetles and moths on a surface in patterns and designs that were pleasing to the artist who made them.
That's right. This is bug art, and the Fairbanks owns the entire collection. Along with the emphasis on the natural world around us, the museum encourages visitors to look up. The Fairbanks has a team of meteorologists on site and is home to the only planetarium in the state.
There are things that happen in the sky that, well, I guess maybe it just surprises people if they haven't necessarily noticed it before.
Mark Breen is one of the meteorologists at the Fairbanks.
Oh, it's cold.
He also serves as a tour guide to the cosmos for the planetarium's visitors.
It's such a genuine experience. I mean, you're describing about this particular constellation that you'll see this evening at 7 o'clock, or this is, certain planets are out tonight, or the moon's going to be moving through a certain, constellation or next to a planet.
Breen says that keeping track of Vermont's complicated weather is a unique challenge.
Sometimes people ask me, is there really such a thing as Vermont weather? Is it different than, New Hampshire weather or something like that? And really the key thing about our weather, and what I think keeps it fascinating for me, I mean, I've been doing this for 35 years, is that our mountains and valleys and how they're arranged and how weather systems come up along the coastline, or they come out of Canada or off the Great Lakes, all of those different things kind of create unique weather, really just from one spot to the other. I wouldn't even say from one town to the other, because within the same town, there'll be a situation where it's sunny in one place and it's snowing like crazy in another, or in the summer you'll be a thunderstorm and it only hits one spot and not another.
The Fairbanks has educational programs for students of all ages, as well as their own nature-based preschool.
One of the best kept secrets of this museum is that it is an active teaching museum. So we have partnerships with the schools in this area, and we have a really phenomenal team of educators that go and they work with teachers and students throughout the year, students in kindergarten through 8th grade, delivering science classes.
It's a chance for visitors to explore the natural world, from the smallest bugs to the largest planets.
Whenever I come here, I find something new, and I've been here many years now. But there's still things that I hadn't seen before and things to discover.
Bringing the wonders of the world to Vermont's Northeast Kingdom. The Fairbanks Museum and Planetarium invites guests to begin their journey of discovery right here in St. Johnsbury. I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
That's our program for today. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.